There's a billionaire in Silicon Valley who sleeps in a rental apartment and drives a Honda Civic. His net worth is over $3 billion. When asked why he doesn't buy a mansion or a Lamborghini, he said something that made every financial advisor in the room uncomfortable. Because I've seen what happens to people who confuse wealth with spending. That sentence contains the entire architecture of financial stability, and almost no one wants to hear it. Because here's the truth: the decisions that actually build lasting financial security are so unglamorous, so repetitive, and so contrary to every message you've been fed since birth that your brain will actively resist them. Not because they're hard, but because they're boring. And in a world that rewards spectacle, boring feels like failure. Let me show you why that's backwards. In 1997, a researcher named Thomas Stanley published a study that should have changed everything. He interviewed over 1,000 millionaires across America, expecting to find a pattern of risk-taking, aggressive investing, and bold business moves. Instead, he found something disturbing. The average millionaire lived in a middle-class neighborhood, drove a used car, and had never bought a suit that cost more than $300. 80% of them were first-generation wealthy, meaning they didn't inherit anything. And when he asked them the secret, they all said the same thing, in different words. They saved a percentage of their income every month. They didn't increase their spending when they got raises. They invested in index funds and left them alone. They avoided debt except for mortgages. They didn't day trade. They didn't chase trends. They didn't try to time the market. One guy summed it up like this: "I got rich by pretending I wasn't." Stanley called them the millionaire next door. But here's what he really discovered: wealth isn't built by the decisions that feel important. It's built by the decisions that feel like nothing. Let's break down why this works, because the math is both simple and psychologically unbearable. Assume you're 25 years old. You make $50,000 a year. You save 15% of your income, which is $625 a month. You invest it in a boring S&P 500 index fund, which historically returns about 10% annually after inflation. You do nothing else. You don't pick stocks. You don't buy crypto. You don't try to beat the market. You just automate the transfer and forget about it. By the time you're 65, you'll have over $3 million. $3 million from a decision you made once and never thought about again. But here's the part that breaks people. For the first 10 years, you'll have less than $150,000. It will feel like nothing is happening. Your friends will be buying new cars, taking expensive vacations, posting about their latest investment wins, and you'll be sitting there with your automated transfer and your boring index fund, watching your account grow by what feels like pennies. The emotional reward is almost zero. The social reward is negative. You'll feel like you're missing out. And that's where most people break, because the human brain isn't wired for compound interest. It's wired for immediate feedback. We evolved in an environment where waiting 40 years for a payoff meant you'd be dead. So when you save money and nothing dramatic happens, your brain interprets that as failure. It starts whispering, "This isn't working. You're wasting your youth. Everyone else is living." But here's the trick: compound interest doesn't care about your feelings. It's a mathematical process, and the longer you leave it alone, the more violent it becomes. In year one, your $7,500 contribution grows to about $8,200, a gain of $700. Boring. In year 10, your $75,000 in contributions is worth about $145,000. Better, but still not life-changing. In year 30, your $225,000 in contributions is worth $1.4 million. In year 40, your $300,000 in contributions is worth $3.3 million. Notice what happened. You contributed the same amount every year, but the gains in the final decade were larger than everything you earned in the first 3 decades combined. That's compound interest. It's backloaded. It rewards patience, and it punishes people who need to see results immediately, which is almost everyone. Now, let's contrast this with the decisions that feel important. Buying a house in a hot market because everyone says real estate always goes up. Taking out a car loan because you deserve something nice. Investing in a startup because your friend knows a guy. Chasing the stock that doubled last year. Buying Bitcoin at $60,000 because you don't want to miss out. These decisions feel active. They feel smart. They feel like you're doing something, and that's the problem. They're designed to feel important because feeling important makes you spend money. The entire consumer economy is built on convincing you that financial stability comes from making bold moves, not boring ones. But here's what actually happens. The average car loan is now over $40,000 at 7% interest for 6 years. That's $670 a month. Over the life of the loan, you'll pay $48,000 for a car that's worth $25,000 by the time you're done. You just bought a depreciating asset with expensive debt. The average home buyer who stretches their budget to afford a dream house ends up house poor, meaning they have equity but no cash flow. They can't invest. They can't save. They're one broken furnace away from financial stress. The average retail investor who tries to pick stocks underperforms the market by 2 to 3% annually. Over 40 years, that difference turns a $3 million portfolio into $1.8 million. You just lost $1.2 million trying to be smart. This is the uncomfortable truth. The decisions that feel passive, automated, and boring will outperform the decisions that feel active, smart, and exciting almost every time. Not because active decisions are always bad, but because most people are bad at making them. And the financial industry knows this. Here's where it gets darker. There's a reason every investment app, every brokerage, every fintech startup wants you to check your account daily, trade frequently, and feel like you're in control. Because the more you trade, the more they make. The average Robinhood user trades 10 times the average Vanguard user, and the average Robinhood user underperforms the average Vanguard user by 5% annually. Vanguard's interface is boring on purpose. It's slow, it's ugly, it makes trading feel like filling out tax forms. That's not bad design, that's good design. Because the best thing you can do with your investments is nothing. But nothing doesn't sell. Nothing doesn't go viral. Nothing doesn't make you feel like a genius. So the industry sells you excitement. They sell you the idea that financial freedom comes from discovering the next big thing, from being early, from taking bold risks. And that's true for about 1% of people. The rest lose money, waste time, and end up back where they started, except older and more cynical. The irony is suffocating. The path to financial independence is to ignore the financial industry. Let's zoom out, because this isn't just about personal finance. It's about how modern economies function. Every stable financial system in history has been built on the same boring foundation: consistent savings, low debt, diversified investments, long time horizons. The countries that got rich didn't do it by gambling. They did it by compounding resources over generations. But here's the problem. Boring decisions don't win elections. They don't generate clicks. They don't make headlines. So politicians promise bold plans. Companies promise revolutionary products. Influencers promise shortcuts. And everyone ends up chasing the next shiny thing while the foundation cracks. The 2008 financial crisis happened because millions of people made exciting decisions: adjustable rate mortgages, subprime loans, over-leveraged investments. It all felt smart at the time. It all felt like wealth building until it wasn't. The people who survived were the ones who had made boring decisions. They had emergency funds. They had fixed-rate mortgages they could afford. They didn't panic sell. They just waited and they recovered. Boring decisions are anti-fragile. Exciting decisions are fragile. And most people learn this the hard way. So here's the question I want to leave you with. If you know that boring decisions work, if you've seen the math, if you understand the psychology, why is it still so hard to actually do them? Because knowing what to do is the easy part. Living with the emotional discomfort of doing nothing while everyone around you is doing something, that's the hard part. Financial stability doesn't require intelligence. It requires the ability to be bored, to automate a decision and then ignore it for 40 years, to feel like you're missing out and be okay with that. And here's the thing, you probably won't do it, not because you're not smart enough, but because you're human, and humans are wired to want more, faster, now. But maybe, just maybe, the next time you're about to make a financial decision that feels exciting, you'll remember the billionaire in the Honda Civic, and you'll ask yourself a different question. What if the most powerful thing I could do right now is nothing at all?